Hi Chris, I'm William Fraser McHenry, and with my wife, the owner of McHenry Distillery, southernmost whisky distillery and brewery in Australia, perched on the edge of the southern island of Tasmania and just staying afloat in the Southern Ocean. So I'm sitting here on the balcony of the Bothwell Hotel, and in the background is a chorus of birds. In the distance there's a dog barking. This is a gorgeous little place in the central part of Tasmania. It's on the edge of the Highlands, and it has this beautiful history. 200 years of Scottish immigrants that came here off a boat, I think, in the early 1800s, that set up their houses, their homes here, and started farming this area. And we're here, the guest of John and Greg Ramsey. John has just launched his new distillery, the Clyde Mill Distillery, and we enjoyed a lovely night last night with all our friends and colleagues in the industry, celebrating what is going to be a substantial addition to the Tasmanian industry. So having a career in the corporate world, largely pharmaceuticals, and getting frustrated and joining my neighbour for a conversation one night over a glass of red wine, the throwaway line my neighbour gave me was, if I wanted a career change with a name like William McHenry, I should learn the bagpipes and make whiskey. And that simple little line just stuck in my head. I describe it like a little seed that lodges in a crack in the pavement, and despite everything thrown at it to stop it growing, it does grow. It sends out roots, it sends up shoots, and a plant grows, and eventually it flowers. And that idea was like that for me. I just fell in love with the idea of creating a distillery, being a maker, having a family legacy that I could gift to my children and my children's children. So just the romantic notion of making whiskey and having that beautiful business just carried me away. And so I started looking in Australia where I should do it. Having grown up in Adelaide, where water is in short supply and often in poor quality, and knowing that water is one of the most important ingredients, in fact, I think the important ingredient for making whiskey, I started my search for a place where I knew the supply was reliable and the quality was high. And eventually we found a little place down in Port Arthur, the southernmost town in Tasmania, where the natural springs flow through a special rock called dolerite rock, and that gives us this lovely, sweet, slightly mineralised water, perfect for brewing and making whiskey. And so that was all literally 20 years ago when I had that dream. And fast forward now, we do have a successful little business. We employ about 15 people in the business, a few shops, and we export around the world. So the springs actually, they literally, the water flows out of the ground. It's remarkable to actually go to the springs. They're in this little valley surrounded by giant man ferns. Man ferns grow about an inch a year. And these man ferns, I mean, it's prehistoric looking. These man ferns are 6 and 8 foot high. And the water is basically percolating through a sandstone layer and flowing out of the ground. You can see it bubbling away. And we've given it a lovely little name. And it's in honouring my wife, who gifted me this opportunity to start my career again and create a passion for me, and we've called it Allison Springs, after my wife's name, Allison. So whiskey is a very simple product. Three ingredients, well actually there's more than three, but people talk about the water, the barley and the yeast. I also add in their time, because to make whiskey you have to be patient. So we were looking for a place where we had a reliable supply of water. So we searched all over Tasmania, and we found this property deep in a forest on the edge of the Southern Ocean, on the side of Mount Arthur. And on that property we have 5 natural springs. One spring alone yields 20 million litres of water a year. And so that was where we purchased the land and started setting it up. Now, for us, it's all about the ingredients. It's all about the things that make whiskey. But because of that, it's a very inconvenient distillery to visit. It's 2 kilometres up a dirt road. It's through a forest. A lot of visitors get halfway and can't imagine there will be an international distillery at the end of the road, but I can assure you there is. So it's certainly well worth the visit, the drive, despite its inconvenience. Oh God, okay. Well, people say alcohol can be addiction, but at the moment my addiction is crayfish. Even though I've been down here 16 or so years, it's only this year I really started making an effort to catch cray, and I've been successful. So, you know, mornings I go out and I pick up my pot out of the ocean and I see 2 or 3 cray in there, and it delights me. So I have a fridge full of cray. I have my daughter in town and we're going to feast on crayfish tonight. But like any business, you've got to find things outside of it, you know, to keep the passion alive, to keep you distracted, but also to keep you focused. I think you'd be a dull person if you didn't, and so cray's my addiction. The sadness is I had to go cold turkey last week because the cray season just ended, so I've got to find something else to get me through to Christmas this year.